special meeting. We have two items on the agenda tonight: a review and discuss and approve the 204 East Street order of resource area delineation and a conservation restriction donation at 191 Cocasset Street. So we will start off with the East Street ORAD. Jane, would you like to start us off?
You want to make sure that we can hear them?
Okay, yes, thank you. Would our visitors sign in, please? Jim?
How you doing?
Good. You can hear us?
Again.
Okay, you're in? Okay, Jeff?
Howdy.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brodsky? Can you hear us?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm also on the line. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Jane, would you like to?
Oh, thanks. Let's see. All right. In their third supplement, the applicant changed the
Okay, hug the microphone.
I need to get close to the microphone. In their third supplement, in my agent's report, I reported that the applicant had changed the boundaries to be approved as follows. Inland bank / mean annual high water line of Canoe River, BF 1 to 100 to BF 1-122 and BF 1-200 to BF 1-217, except in the area between bank flags BF 1-22 to BF 1-124 as identified on the ANRAD plans. And so, if you will look at page 2 of the order of delineation, I did basically the same. I have two different ones. One is under the bylaw and one is under the Wetlands Protection Act, the state act. The bylaw is basically the same. It simply has two additional bylaw delineation resource areas. So, for the order of delineation, I have suggested, you have not approved, but this is my suggestion, that you consider accurate the bordering vegetated wetlands, and then other resource areas specifically, basically as requested, the inland bank / MAHW line, in parentheses, BF 1-100 to BF 1-121, BF 1-200 to BF 1-217, except for BF 1-122, BF 1-123, and BF 1-124 as requested on page 1 of Lucas Environmental Supplement number 3. I also added, because we did review this to death, I wrote, please note, after an extensive review of the mean annual high water line, the FCC believes, FCC meaning you, believes that the finger, in quotes, which in parentheses, shaded area on page 3 of 4/1/2020 plan from BF 1-122, then EM-1 to EM-3, then A-33 to A-38, ending at BF 1-124, is the actual mean annual MAHW line. This general area was approved by the DEP in the 2009 SORAD, DEP 157467. Then, for riverfront area, the supplement 3 stated excludes the portion determined by flags BF 1-123 to BF 1-124 until such time as the mean annual high water line is resolved. So I put for riverfront area, approved as shown on the approved plan, excluding BF 1-123 and BF 1-124 as requested on page 1 of Lucas Environmental Supplement 3. And as modified, excuse me, I put other resource areas specifically bordering land subject to flooding. This has been a discussion item for a while. And as background, it has been questioned ever since 2008 at least by the commission. 2009, the ORAD denied the BVW only, and the 2009 superseding order, ORAD, approved by the DEP, approved BVW, Riverfront, in parentheses, MAHWL, and BLSF. They approved the 176 flood elevation, which is actually 175.2 feet NAVD 88. For the Forge Estates, and all of this information has been requested and given to the applicants, and so should probably, or definitely be included in your administrative record. So the 2014 Order of Conditions, NOI for Forge Estates on 11/24/14 state, Mr. Lucas stated, approved SORAD's delineation was used for this filing. And then in 2019, when the ANRAD was opened, on 10/28/19, Mr. Lucas stated, the only real difference from previously approved delineation is mean annual high water line. So the SORAD approved elevation 176 and up. On the plan, it says flood elevation, let's see, what does it say? The approved SORAD stated approved 100-year flood elevation equals 176-foot NGVD 29, which in this part of the world computes to 175.2 feet NAVD 88. The 1979 FEMA map included this elevation 176, and Judy told me she was always scratching her head as to why Forrest Emery had stated that it was at 176. She couldn't figure it out. But when we put the two edges of the two ancient
You're
plans
losing your
together.
voice.
Oops, I'm sorry. When we put the two plans, I have to use my hands, I guess. When we put the two edges of the plans together, that 176 fell approximately around where the cart path was, which made sense. But it was really hard to decipher, and it looks like it was dropped in error from the 2009 and 2012 plans. Let's see, the 2009 FEMA map removed that 176-foot contour, so it goes from 174 all the way up to 178. And bridge was added at East Street. And then for 2012, the bridge connotation was removed, but the 176 was never re-added. They were very close together. So I have put for bordering land subject to flooding, elevation, it's modified. Elevation 172.5 to 178, NAVD 88, instead of elevation equals 174 to 178. The upper levels are fine. It's just at that one constricted spot, which has been the bone of contention from day one. Continuing, which is consistent with the 2009 DEP 157-467 SORAD, in parentheses, approved 100-year flood elevation equals 176 NGVD 29. I think I already read this to you.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I'm losing it. And that's it. Inaccurate, I put NA. And then for the bylaw, I put the same information in here and then added as accurate, Chapter 267, 25-foot no activity zone, and Chapter 267, isolated freshwater wetland, in parentheses, WFB-1 to WFB-7, as requested by the supplement 3. And I think that is about it. You might look at the list of final plans and documents that I've included on this ORAD, and then I was sort of fashioning it after the way the DEP had written their superseding order, and they had a cover letter which stated things like following on-site inspections and an in-depth review, blah, 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 blah. So I was going to put some kind of a cover letter that kind of explained some of this information. Also, I asked the DEP specifically, since we had the COVID and everything like that, there have been issues, if what they had in their records, what had been submitted to them, and the only filings for this ANRAD that they had were the originally submitted ANRAD document and plan, and then supplement 3 with the revised plan and supplement 3. That's all I had. That's about it. I've given out to some of you the information that I considered when looking at this. I spent too much time on this. On Friday, I was here till 5:30 without lunch. And I just want to make sure that all my duckies were in a row. I got all the historical documents together, emails, minutes, submitted stuff, this, that, and the other thing, agents' reports, and I have 63 pages worth of sort of condensed information. So I reviewed everything that was discussed, and that's what I came up with. So you may discuss.
Judy, I'll start with you. Any comments?
I guess the only thing I would.
You want to get closer to the mic, please?
The only thing I would maybe suggest is that we're talking about bordering land subject to flooding. Maybe another line that expresses that having a hydrological study would be the best method of determining the elevation, the 100-year flood elevation, and that we had requested the applicant 3 times to do that.
Unfortunately, at this time, I don't think we can accept any new data. The hearing is closed.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got what we've got.
Okay.
Jim, any comments? Not to put you on the spot, but Jim, can you hear me?
I think I'm all set. I think enough information has been provided. Let's make the decision tonight.
Jeff? Get closer to the mic.
You're muted.
You're muted. Hang on a second.
Good. Yeah, I think like Jim said, I think we've got everything we can get
Okay.
right now. I think it's what Jane's got is good.
Dave?
I'm okay, but I have one question about a sentence under bordering land subject to flooding. That last sentence. FCC's reference photo evidence inundation in area is representative of the 79 FEMA map study. I thought the photographic evidence did not agree with the FEMA elevation study map. I'm just wondering if that sentence is correct or not.
Well, we didn't realize the 176 had been in there in the 1979 version of that map. Except that must be why the DEP approved 176 as the floodplain. Like I said, we Didn't understand why, although I do have information from Forrest Emery that explains why he put it there.
So what we're saying is that the FEMA map shows the elevation of 176.
In the location of
I-
the cart path.
Yeah, I understand what Dave's asking. I think that shouldn't that be higher elevation based on our photos? That's what you're saying, right, Dave?
Yeah, because we're saying our photos show high elevations and with witnesses. And then we're saying here that we agree that the photographic evidence is the 1979 elevation.
It's more in line with it. Judy, why
Yeah,
don't you go?
I would think, well, maybe it should be reworded that the FCC's referenced photo evidence of inundation in the area is more representative of the 1979 FEMA study than what has been depicted on the plan. Or reference the actual 176 elevation that they have at the cart path. To make that distinction, because you're right, Dave. I mean, it went over East Street, which, according to.
For a 10-year storm.
So Dave is right. He's referencing, what we found was it went over East Street for a 10-year storm. It exceeded the 100-year flood elevation during a 10-year storm event. But this elevation that was proposed, that was in the SORAD, is much better than what is being proposed in this filing. I don't know if you could reword that.
I've played with it, and you guys can reword it if you want. I'm
Well, Dave, how do
filled
you
up.
think? Do you have any suggestions on rewording that sentence?
No, it didn't have any suggestions. It seems to conflict. Mm-hmm. And we're putting it down as a finding, like.
Want me to read to you what page 7 of the letter from Forrest Emery said about bordering land subject to flooding and how he came about his observation or his determination? He said, let's see, bordering land subject to flooding is defined in 310 CMR 1057 1A1, in quotes, is an area which floods from a rise of bordering waterway or water body. Based on assessment of the Federal Emergency Management Agency flood insurance study and rate map for the site locus, the northern section of the site has a 100-year flood elevation at 180 NGVD, so that would be 179.2. Thence proceeding southerly, dropping to 178 NGVD, or 177.2. Then 177, you can, minus 0.8. Then to 176 NGVD at the man-made discontinuity / cart path and East Street. The above floodplain elevations are supported by detailed studies and the most recently available flood profile data. Please reference the FEMA FIS study, June 1979, Table 2, and map 01P for the Canoe River. So, he referred to the study, which has not changed one iota. And reference to changes in flood calculations using TP40, that's been around since 1960 and has been shown to be inaccurate at this point.
Okay, I have a suggestion.
Okay.
So why don't we say FCC referenced photo evidence of inundation in the area exceeded the downstream FEMA flood elevation of 174 and crossed over East Street during the
10-year storm.
representative of a 10-year storm, and what was that, in March of 2010? Mm-hmm. So just state a fact there, that it exceeded the downstream elevation of 174.
During a 10-year storm.
During a representative 10-year storm.
Event.
Since this area has obviously been missed somehow, some way, and because the applicant has indicated that they are going to look at the previously disturbed area for the crossing as suggested by the commission, perhaps just removing the floodplain elevation in the vicinity of the contentious finger would be good enough, because it's fine upstream. It's just that one short area where it does flood because of the cart path.
Do we have evidence that they are planning to cross at the previously disturbed
It doesn't
area?
really matter,
Okay,
but that's why they say they want to remove the mean annual high water line finger, because they are not going to be proposing, or they're going to be looking at the alternative crossing area that the
Okay,
commission has
if-
suggested before.
I would feel much better going along with that if I had some assurances that they were going to use the previously disturbed areas for the crossing.
Well, then they would need to show that anything that is proposed in that same area would not cause flooding. I have it in my notes someplace.
Okay, but I think I expressed my frustration last time
Oh, I know.
about that, so.
I know.
In the meantime, Peter, any comments?
I don't think so. I think it's been
Beaten to death?
pretty much. And I don't know all the history, but I'm getting the idea.
I'll send it to you.
No, I've got it. I've sent it to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's been an education.
Rich, any comments?
No, I'm all set.
Thank you. Okay,
So I'm certain that the applicant would not be happy with the 170, not saying that it was at 174. Now, it is 174 probably at the street. But then it goes up a notch that has been omitted in all of these versions, even though there has been no study or anything else. Seems like the middle of the road would be to do what Judy had suggested during one of the meetings, where she suggested removing the BLSF in the vicinity of that contentious area, because that's the contentious area. Upstream is fine.
yeah,
Upstream, we haven't seen anything unusual.
yeah. Can we write the order of conditions to exclude that?
I think that we could. We could say that that area let's see, modified. Perhaps we could say modified BLSF from, let me look over here.
Can we zoom in on the map, kind sir? Thank you. You're zoomed.
I'm zoomed. In the vicinity of A31, flag A31. From A31 to the street, approve A31 through upstream the whole way. Because at A31, just before A31, it does make a jog up. And that would be more in line, probably.
Okay, now, stay over there for a second, Jane, if you would, please. We're talking about BF1 and, okay, so I just want to clarify that we're not talking about the BF1 series there when you,
No, I'm just saying
Okay.
in the vicinity of.
okay, okay. I just want to clarify. Because you're referencing in the order BF1 series. So is this BF1 A31?
The bordering land subject to flooding?
Yeah, well, when you're talking about the riverfront and the inland bank on the order.
Oh, basically, so you go from what they've talked about, BF1 through 122, straight up, it's A31, and then riverfront area not confirmed beyond this point
Okay,
is shown here.
all right.
They're still gonna need to do something as far as calculating inner and outer riparian alterations, but
That will
That's
come
the way
through
they
with the
wanna do it.
NOI.
what?
They'll have to do that on the
On
NOI.
the NOI, yeah.
Yep.
So see the jog. It's approximately in this general area. I think when I figured it out before, 176 went something like that, which is right about at the jog. I don't know. It's a foot difference, but the lower elevations are more critical, I think, than the upper, because the upper is where they say that they want to, they've mentioned at the
Yeah,
hearings
okay.
that they want to do that.
So can you, now that you're back on the mic, make those modifications to the order for us to sign them? What did I say?
I feel stupid.
And get closer to the mic.
Good. Okay, A31. So approve the accurate. I could put it under accurate
Okay,
as BLSF. The area going upstream from floodplain adjacent to BVW flag A31. So I think that's a good compromise. It's basically in a straight line.
I think there should be a note if we're going to eliminate a section of the BLSF as to why, similar to what you did with the mean annual high water,
All right.
because
Except for. So I'll use similar language.
that we have photographic evidence of that the floodplain floodplain elevation is not accurate in the lower portion due to a constriction in a culvert.
Can you get that in?
I can get it in. I'm wondering how I should do this. I had it under modified.
Yep.
I still think you should, put this information in about the SORAD, as a note, and that the lower portion is constricted by a culvert, which.
So in theory, the state, because it's
the
important
state
to
is gonna wanna
remember.
know- They're going to want to know, why are we cutting
Right.
out this section?
Well, no, it's important to
Let them know
note that in the order of resource area delineation, the commission only denied the BVW. They didn't even mention anything else. And then the DEP came in and they said, this is where the mean annual high water line and riverfront is, as well as floodplain and BVW. So if it was appealed to them once and they said that sort of thing, I don't see why they wouldn't again. I mean, they are our experts, really.
But since that time, we've had another flood where water went over East Street.
Well, we have, but they
Yeah.
haven't updated any of the studies, and so
Yeah.
that old one still flies, and we have additional evidence. That evidence, Gary McCutch, when I spoke to him, we were delving into the mean annual high water line, and Gary had said that Mass DEP also considers photographic evidence and rainfall data to better define the boundary of the mean annual high water line. So,
Okay, I just feel like if we're going to leave out a portion of it, we ought to put a note like you did with the mean annual high water.
well, the thing is, it was not requested by Chris, by
the
the
applicant.
supplement 3. This is the commission's
Yeah,
Yep.
iteration, if you will. I'll see what I can craft, and I get the gist of it.
Okay.
You get the gist of it.
Didn't the applicant request the finger be removed from consideration as the NRAD?
They did, and
That was
that's
the final.
why I wrote that except for the area of such and so. But I did state that it had been approved in the SORAD, and that the
So that's
commission.
that note that you have here. Please note under the accurate.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Marsh, you all set with that, or?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Jeff?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay. Judy, any other comments?
nope.
Any-
It's acceptable to me, yeah.
Okay, Rich, you all set?
Fine, yep.
All right, before I call for a motion, Mr. Brodsky, do you, I know you cannot present any evidence, but any comments?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just trying to understand what the commission is doing. If I understand it correctly, you're taking out the finger from the delineation of riverfront area, and you're also taking out of the delineation a portion of the bordering land subject to flooding closer to the street. Is that correct, sir?
That's, yes.
In the same vicinity as the finger of wetlands in question.
Thank you. I just, again, I just wanted to remind the commission that we did ask the commission to delineate all areas and reference the January 2020 plan set. But thank you, sir.
But the DEP never received that. And that plan set was even more complicated, actually, because it had all sorts of little squiggly lines here and there.
Oh, so DEP did not receive that plan?
Yeah, I checked with the DEP. The only submissions that they have received is the original filing and the supplemental 3 information.
Mr. Chairman, this is Adam Brodsky. I wasn't involved in the case in January, so I can't speak as to what was submitted to DEP in January 2020 or not.
Sure, okay.
I just felt like it would make the most sense to review what had been requested. We thought we were going to be closing the hearing on the 1st of June. And so using that particular map, and that map was received by
By us?
the DEP.
Oh, okay.
But I was questioning whether we should be submitting our responses to their supplements to the DEP. And so I was thinking, well, shouldn't we just be reviewing under the state what has been submitted to the state? That's just my logic.
Okay.
And we'd never submitted anything to them as responses either.
Okay. Does that answer your question, sir?
Mr. Chairman, yes, thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, do I hear a motion to accept the, how we want to word it, the conditions as we discussed, revised?
Water resource area delineation,
Yep.
WPA, it's just the top of the thing right there.
All right. You want to make the motion, sir?
I don't think I can. Can I?
Yeah, actually, probably only the quorum can do that sort of
Okay.
thing.
All right.
And then everyone can sign it as in support of the quorum,
Okay.
even if some of the quorum can't sign.
Make that motion. You're one of the,
I will make that motion, whatever you said.
as recorded. Okay. Do I hear a second?
A second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Jim?
Am I allowed to vote?
I think you can vote to back us up. I know you're not on the initial quorum, but you can support the rest of us.
I'm always supportive of the rest of us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Opposed to the motion? None. We have a vote. Jeff, you're going to have to come down and sign it tomorrow, please.
I would think that possibly he wouldn't need to, because we will have a quorum of people signing it.
I would like
Just
like
in
to
case.
avoid any.
Yeah, I hear
Okay.
you.
So can you make arrangements with Jane to come down and sign it either tomorrow or the next day? Jeff?
Yeah, I'll check my schedule and figure out how to get in there.
Okay, thank you.
Or I can leave it in the parking lot for you.
All right, can you be there at about 6:30
Ha!
AM or PM?
a.m.?
Oh, no.
That's an
I could walk by with
absolutely
the
no.
dogs and sign it then.
So apparently Chris Lucas's baby is coming imminently.
Oh.
Has the baby come yet, do you know?
Mr. Chairman, Adam Brodsky,
Yeah.
not yet, but shortly.
That's
Okay.
exciting.
All right, I'm
Can you
looking
please
forward to
pass-
hearing
can you
all the
please Pass
details.
along our congratulations to him.
Yes, sir, my pleasure.
Yep.
Anything else for that?
No, but I've printed out the signature pages and 2 copies of them one for the bylaw,
And,
2 copies of each, one for the bylaw, one for the state.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. We will get them signed for you, Mr. Brodsky.
And I
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for your patience and assistance.
You're welcome. Okay. Now, do we have the conservation restriction information?
Yes, the commission voted to approve this conservation restriction, which was, oh darn it, this says version 9. Why does it say version 9? You can sign it. You voted to accept version 8.
Okay,
Then the applicant or applicant's lawyer, I think, went back to, submitted it or spoke to the Heritage Program and whoever else in the state CR people, and they had a few revisions to make, which I guess they went back and forth a couple times. And so version 10 was approved. Now, I pushed accept all modifications, and it's turned out to be version 9, and Pat Costello told me that version 10 was the version, so I'm going to write version 10 on here
okay.
and make sure everything else is, this is just the signature page.
So, Jane, are we supposed to sign both signature pages on this?
Yes, please. What ones? Oh, I just said 2 because. So we-
Just one?
Sign them both, please.
When's the state one?
We have to sign the state versus the bylaw, or is that different?
There are 2 different ORADs. One's under the bylaw and one is the state's. And so there, I printed out 2 signature pages for each one. So I'm asking them to
Okay.
sign 4 times.
Yeah. So 4 signatures.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this here, I've changed this to version 10 because Mr. Costello tells me that that's the version you're supposed to be signing. From here, it would go to the Board of Selectmen for signature. So they have the final say on this.
Do we need to revote? Because it's now a different draft version?
That's true, thank you.
I don't know what the vote was last time. Was it just in the form provided at that time, or do we have to,
No idea.
revote? I think it would make sense.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe if you just voted to the same as last time, except to vote to sign, you didn't sign the last, to sign version 10 as approved by town council. Sound good?
Yeah, except that vote.
Keep cutting out what?
I'll second that.
Oh. I can't first it.
Town council approved it. We must sign it. Go ahead and vote.
4 times 2,
4 times.
yeah.
The version 10 was the last one you sent in the email?
Yes. It was a little bit cumbersome, though, and that's, I sent an email to town council asking, is this it? And I said, which version is it? He said, version 10. So basically what I did was I got rid of tracking and I accepted all edits, and I got rid of the comments.
Okay.
And it should have gone to version 10, so there might be a glitch somewhere. But since I changed it to version 10 in writing, I mean, it should fly. And then I'll have Pat send me a cleaned up version or something. I just wasted lots of paper. Yeah, it says version 9. I don't get it. This is the restriction. If anyone would like to see one.
Anybody that didn't sign 4 copies?
So there's 3 pieces of paper on this one. We supposed to sign all 3 of these, or just the top one? Yeah. 2, 3.
Why did I do 3? I don't know, I'm losing my mind. Probably 1 for the commission, 1 for the Board of Selectmen, and 1 for
Who are you gonna send it?
whoever needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever it's going to be sent to. I know we had a plan when I printed them.
You never know, they might ask for 2 originals, too.
True, you never know.
Didn't lose one, did I? No, no.
That should be it then, right?
Yep. After we get the signatures, then I'll call for a vote. Don't want to make it illegal to sign after the meeting is closed.
Well, isn't that what you've asked Jeff to do?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So my father, in their commission, no one has been in the office for, since the beginning. Are we done?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just interesting. Like no one's been in there to sign anything. They've been doing everything remotely since March.
I know in the old days, the previous conservation agent used to call me up. I'm in Boston. He'd call me up and say, "Can I forge your signature on certain documents?" Then he'd put his initials on it. So.
Well, they're using electronic. It's like if someone's approving it, they're saying, "Yep, it's approved," and there's not requiring a physical signature on a document.
There were a lot of discussions about what the different registries were accepting. Some were
Yep.
just accepting ink, some were accepting digital signatures, but this is when I was working from home. Most of my time, I swear, was spent trying to figure out what the legalities were for all you guys.
Yeah.
And I think that if you wanted to, you could still, I think the state of emergency hasn't ended for the municipalities yet, I don't believe.
No.
I know it has
No, yeah.
for the state, but,
I just
I mean,
find
you could have
it's
told it,
interesting,
or you could have just waited for everything.
It's just interesting that they're just. I mean, just the
Three
different
days?
groups are doing things differently.
Yeah.
It was an observation, not
Okay.
a we should do things differently comment.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't take it that way.
Yep. No, I get it. Yep.
Have we voted on this?
Confusing times.
Did we vote on this?
You did vote on it, I think.
Yeah.
Did you vote?
When's the next meeting?
No.
No, we gotta vote on
You have to
the new
vote.
version.
Oh, you have to vote, I guess.
Yeah, we haven't voted.
Okay.
Somebody has to make the
Jim,
motion
You
because
made the motion, Jim?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the latest version of the conservation restriction
Version 10.
approved by county.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? None? Motion to adjourn?
make that motion.
Yes, please.
I'll
Second.
second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next
Aye.
meeting,
I.
the 21st.
21st?
Thank you, one and all.